The braids are gone, the Duke is on. This is the review of Shaka Ilembe Season 1, Episode 8. Let's jump straight into it. This episode was one of the slower moving episodes, but for a very specific reason. In this episode, Shaka and Nandi settle into their new home, and the Game of Thrones begins. Let's break it down. Starting off in Mthandeni KwaXhwabe, where Shaka and Nandi have moved after leaving Elangeni. Here they start to make, a new life for themselves. Nandi has gotten herself a new man, a new boo in Gendeyana. And Shaka as well is making a friend with Unomo. We see them together in the beginning of the episode. And it's here that we have another time skip of 8 years. So we move straight to when Shaka is now a young man. And I'm thinking he's around 18, 19 years old at this time. Not really sure how old he is, but this is where we are now. Shaka has grown into a young man. And now we start to see him as a young man. He's, rebellious, he's naughty, he's mischievous, and him and his friend Nomo get up to no good. They are like partners in crime. And because of this, Gendeyana, who is now essentially Shaka's stepfather, decides that he's going to draft Shaka into the army so that he can train him and build him up into being a man. Now, Shaka views Gendeyana as somewhat of an imposter father, a wannabe father to him, and he hasn't really accepted him, and he certainly refuses to be trained under him. He views the role or the responsibility of training him into being a man as one that belongs to his actual father, kaSenzangakhona. So he decides that he's going to leave. He's going back to KwaNobamba, where he's going to ask for the guidance of his father to train him up into being a man. And all you need to know about that trip back to KwaNobamba is that kaSenzangakhona is still as mad and as despicable as the last time we saw him. So Shaka basically has no choice but to return back from KwaNobamba and accept Gendeyana's offer. And I just want to dive a little bit more into this trip that Shaka took to KwaNobamba. I honestly feel like this trip was very important in breaking Shaka's naivety, in showing Shaka that there's absolutely nothing that he can do to win his father's affection, no matter how much he tries, And I feel like as people, sometimes we really try so hard and we break ourselves trying to find the approval of people that we love and people that we admire, even when it's obvious that you'll never get it. And sometimes it's necessary to have our hearts broken so that we can accept the truth that we'll never be enough. And this heartbreak in its own way is liberating, because now it frees you to go out into the world and make your own way, knowing that you will never have that approval. You go out, you make your own way, you build yourself up, build up your own self-esteem, your own self-confidence, find things that, will add value to your life outside of the approval of these people that we love, that we admire, whose approval we'll never get. And there's power in being able to do that on your own, in being able to find value in yourself outside of other people, to know who you are, know your value, even when nobody else does. And this experience really, truly, I believe, is what pushes Shaka to make his own way, to try and forge his own path in life. And it's what also makes him accept this training under Gendeyana. I think that it was a good thing for Shaka to go home and to just see the truth for what it is, because now there's nothing stopping him. He also has a drive to become a man of his own making. Another man of his own making, another man of resilience, is the cat with 9 lives, uKotongwana, who we last saw being captured again. And this time he ends up in KwaMabudu with Ungomane, where King Makasana reigns. And it's here that he is saved again by his love Ubalega, and by virtue of saving him, Godongwana also is able to save Ungomane. And he does this to show and prove to Ngomane that he is loyal to him. But it's not just that. Godongwana understands that a time is coming when his father is going to pass away, King Jobe, and he will need to go back to the Mtetwa Palace to claim his throne and overthrow Umawewe. So while Ngomane goes back to the Mtetwa Palace, Godongwana decides to stay in KwaMabudu for the next 8 years with Ubalega. So after the time skip, we see that Godongwana has made a friend of King Makasana, and he's actually making an ally out of him as well. And this is like a common thing throughout his exile. Remember the time when he was with the KwaHlubi people and he had those dreads? Guys. But anyway, when he was KwaHlubi, he was also making an ally with King Bongani, because Godongwana really does understand that once his father passes away, the time will come where he needs to go back and claim his throne, you know. And sure enough, in this episode, that time arrives. King Jobe passes away. Umawewe is now set to be the next king. And the Game of Thrones is starting. You know, we see Umawewe's mother as well being involved in the Game of Thrones. Ungomane as well has started showing and choosing sides. So we are left at the end of the episode anticipating this war, this upcoming war between Godongwana and Umawewe, which I think is going to be super exciting. And after watching the trailer for episode 9, it looks like Shaka is also going to be making his first war debut, fighting his first war in the next episode. So I am really excited to see this war take place. And I just hope that this time around, they really go all out. Because that first war that we saw between the Zulus and the Ndwandwes in episode 2 was so underwhelming. I was expecting so much more from that war. I was expecting to see a lot more fighting scenes, a lot more strategies of war, a lot more skillful show off of the spears and how the Zulus and the Ndwandwes are fighting. And I was just left after the war feeling like, really, was that what all the hype was about? Just like a little scene at the end of the episode. So I really hope that this coming war is really gonna go all out, showcase the battle, and, you know, place us there, show us how it is to be in that war. And it will also be interesting to see how Shaka performs in this fight. I mean, knowing the kind of man that he is today, this military, you know, prodigy, so to speak. So I'm very, very excited about that. And yeah, once again, we're still missing the Ndwandwes. Guys, as old as Shaka is, that's how long ago we've seen the Ndwandwes in the story. What's going on with them? It's been like, what, 18, 19 years for them? And we don't know what's happening with them. Are we even ever going to see them again in this season? I really hope we do. Those guys came with a lot of drama. And that's it for the review of episode 8 of Shaka Ilembe. I am looking forward to episode 9. I've actually started doing Twitter spaces just after the episode airs, just so we can discuss our first impressions of the episode. So join me after episode 9 airs at 9 o'clock on Twitter for a space where we discuss our first impressions. I'll leave a link in the description. And also, let's meet again next week right here for the review of episode 9. I look forward to it. Bye.